Today in the Boot Guide, we are looking at the new Turbo 6-inch H2O by Ariat. All right, so one thing that I do know is that you guys have a love-hate relationship with direct attach boots. And it's understandable because a lot of us are purists and we love to have a welted boot that can be resoled, it can be rebuilt. Makes us feel like we're wearing something that was crafted, handcrafted by somebody. But the beauty of direct attach boots like this is that they have one thing in mind, and it's not style or look or anything else. The first order of business when it comes to direct attach boots, especially from Ariat, is that they're making the most comfortable work boot they possibly can. And when it comes to the Turbo H2O, they have nailed comfort all the way through. Now, there are some of the other little factors that happen in this boot that I'm not 100% keen on, but what are you gonna do? All right, so as always, let's start with this beautiful translucent clear sole. Super sticky material, lots of resistance when it comes to climbing, when it comes to walking, when it comes to moving over different surfaces. Whether it's going to be plywood, a sole like this on plywood is great. Now, wet soaked plywood, there's very few materials out there that are good for traction in a situation like that, but this type of urethane is always a better type of sole to have on your foot than something that's oil based. Now when it comes to Ariat, the one thing that you always got to look for is the ATS shank, because the ATS shank is what's going to give you that support, especially if you're into trades and you have to climb a lot, whether it's a ladder, metal rungs, wooden steps, whatever you're doing where you're spending a lot of time climbing. Having the ATS shank really takes a lot of pressure off this part of the foot, which is the arch and the heel when you're climbing. Yes, we know this. Direct attach boots, soles like this, they do not last a really long time. This sole will eventually crack. Like every other direct attach boot out there that is made in the same way, it will crack. Will it be 9 months? Will it be 2 years? Who knows, but yes, it will eventually happen. This boot was designed to be comfortable. So from day one, that first day you break it in, that first day you start wearing it, to the day that you retire it, it will be comfortable all the way through. Basic work leather. There's nothing really exciting about the leather outside of the color. It's a really nice honey type brown color, which we don't see much. We usually see blonde boots, we usually see dark oil tan brown leathers, which I mean, I love it all. But this is a pretty unique color. It's a pretty unique look when it comes to a direct attach work boot. Now, probably the one part about the leather that I do not like is it feels a little soft to me. But that's mainly a personal thing. I like a big, heavy, thick leather, and I know a lot of you guys don't like leathers like that. You like to have lighter weight boots, and it's understandable, but the leather feels a little thin. Even with this carbon toe, I just feels a little thin, like I might be kicking through this a little bit prematurely than what I'm used to. But you know what? We're gonna find out over time, because these are gonna be put into the rotation of my personal work boots, so we're gonna see a lot of these on my Instagram feed. Now the boot's called the Turbo 6-inch H2O, which means it's waterproof. It's marked waterproof, but what gives it away is the gusseted tongue. Yes, when you make a waterproof boot, also when you look inside and you see the way the interior is like seamed together, you know that this is a waterproof boot. But that gusseted tongue, whenever you see that, you know that the company is really trying to make something that you can stand in water in. And it's understandable. A direct attached boot, the leather, the liner, all of it is directly attached to the sole, so you're not going to get the seepage you normally would. Outside of one seam, This seam right here might be a weak spot, but I'm not gonna say it until it fails on me personally, or if you guys out there have some information about it. But having a seam right there, though, it makes for a more comfortable, flexible boot, and this thing is flexible. And look at that. Get folded in half right at the shank. It just folds really nicely. You know it's gonna be a great climbing boot. But let's get back to the waterproofness. So the waterproof barrier, as you know, is built into the boot. You do not see it unless you start to take the boot apart, and then you will feel and see the baggie that they use. It's hidden behind a really nice, soft, baby soft polyester liner, which we haven't seen a lot lately in work boots. It's nice to see that this type of material is coming back into play. We used to see this a lot back in the early 2000s when they were first trying to engineer the waterproof barriers into work boots. They started using a nice soft liner like this. It's nice to see it coming back into play. Eyelid speed laces and laces, man, I gotta say, this is where they really nailed it. This is where they understand those little nuances that happen in work boots. This is where Ariat got together with whoever they were working with and said, what are the things that guys hate the most? Guys hate crappy laces in their boots. And I know you walk into your local shop, you pick up some new laces, but when you buy a pair of boots and you get a crappy pair of laces, it really reflects upon the boot. So this little tiny step by putting something really nice and high end, which Ariat did in this boot, is really important. The speed laces, they are a thermal high impact plastic and great because the boot is EH, it's electrical hazard. That's not steel, that is a composite type material. They call it a carbon toe. So this is a full EH boot for people that are working around electricity. This is a great boot to have on your foot. It will not send you to ground, at least not at certain voltages or amperages. Yeah, you'll fry, but it's not gonna happen with 120. Fit and aesthetic of the boot, well, the boot is beautiful. It looks good. It feels like a classic work boot should feel, with all the modern accoutrements that you want in a work boot. Flexible, durable, nice, heavy, long wearing sole, direct attached sole to a nice, soft, waterproof leather with a waterproof barrier. Just everything that makes a boot great, you are getting it in the Turbo 6-inch. Now, the one thing that I don't like about it, and I'm gonna pick up this other one here and kind of point this out, is I don't really like the way the whole back is situated. It's got a lot of padding around the ankle here, and I know guys love to have their ankles padded because you can get a really nice fit around your ankles. Personally, for me, I know that by the end of the life of this boot, I have broken all this padding down, so I really do like to start out in something that doesn't have a lot of padding. But you know, with the padded collar, we can just look past all that and we can just see it for what it is, which is a really well-engineered work boot for a 12 and 15-hour day. Ariat understands that when guys put on their boots in the morning, they don't get home till late at night, so they want you to be comfortable all day. Personally, size and fit, I found them to be spot on, but I wear a lot of Ariat boots, so my feet are kind of accustomed to the last that they use in order to build these boots. With this being part of the work line and not part of the Western line, which I love my Ariat Western boots, I must say that they understand how to build correct work boots. It truly is a D width. It is not a double E, it's not somewhere between, it is truly a D. So if you need something wider, make sure you purchase them wider. If you know that you're between a B, a C, or a D, you're somewhere in there, you're probably gonna get away with wearing these because they are going to be just the right width. Now, that nano toe is the same size nano toe, whether it's a D or a double E. This toe does not get any bigger with size of boot, but what does happen is that you do get a little bit more space beyond it once you increase the width of the boot, which then makes the boot that much more comfortable on a long day. So that's the new Turbo 6-inch H2O from Ariat. Hey, if you're currently wearing a pair of the Turbo 6-inch H2Os, please comment below. Let guys know what you think about them. Whether you like them or you hate them, please comment below. If you're seeing this video 3 years after it was made and you've had a couple pairs of these and you've fallen in love with them, please comment below. Let us know. Let Ariat know that they should keep this in the production line because it really is a quality boot from the company. Hey guys, if you're enjoying the videos, if you're enjoying the whole body of work of the Boot Guy Reviews, feel free to click those links below in order to show a little support for the channel and the project. Just by buying me a beer or picking me up a cup of coffee, by throwing me a few bucks through PayPal, it's a great way to show your support. Hey guys, if you're interested, follow me on Instagram. All week long, I take photos of wherever I'm working, whatever I'm working with, or who's ever around me, and I post it on my Instagram feed. Sometimes I get some pretty interesting stuff. Sometimes it's just that mundane stuff of showing off new boots or maybe showing off something that broke. Stuff like that. Follow me on Instagram. Check out that whole week of photography that I'm putting out there. All right, until the next time, I'm the Boot Guy. Thanks a lot for watching.